up our public safety officials. I am a little bit bummed. Come on up, guys, come on. Bill Fitzgerald has something that he couldn't get out of this afternoon, so he's not going to join us. But I wanted to speak for a second. I was really excited to hear him introduce to you. You'll have to find the article and we'll share it afterward. Bill Fitzgerald is a sergeant with the Orange County Sheriff's Department. And he is, I believe, the head of the aerial division. So, without further ado, Derek Ward.
Thank you. Glad to be here. So, Derek Ward, Los Angeles City Fire Department. We started a drone program 2.5, almost 3 years ago. And I was there since the conception of the program and helped develop and writing the curriculum. We've established a relationship with the FAA to help integrate drones in the national airspace with emergency services. I was on LA County's brush crews for 4 years before I was with LA City. Arson certified, hazmat certified, ARF certified. And what that does is, and I've been flying remote control drones and aircraft since I was a kid. And I've had a quadcopter about 2011 and started flying and created my own business, Hot Shots Aerial Photography, out in Utah, and that's where I live. And so that's been very, very successful. I fly a lot, got a lot of hours on board. And what I've been able to do personally is integrate my love with the fire department into UAS. So we've established SOGs for all types of emergencies, hazmat incidents, brush fires, structure fires, and that is what we've been doing. Myself and Dave Danielson are the lead pilots, Chief Fields. We just put a course together and trained 17 drone pilots they're actually firefighters. We trained them using the Nest and NFPA 2400, which is a new standard that's been developed for emergency services. It's a national standard. You can look it up. It's kind of basic, but at least it's starting somewhere to get people up and running as far as agencies are concerned. We were the first to initiate drones at FDIC. It's a fire department international conference. So firefighters from all over the world came and we trained using drones. We trained thermal imaging, using FLIR cameras, how to identify and set pallets, all the above. So, and we were using zoom cameras. We were doing search and rescues, drop lines, all different types of scenarios to help train and help other departments nationwide, or actually worldwide. And one of the things I pride ourselves on is helping other agencies. We're an open book, and we know that by all of us coming together to share all the knowledge that you guys have shared with me today and what we've learned to share with you, that we are growing the industry and getting it going forward. Anyways, I don't want to take too much time. Here, this video is a video that I created, a lot of the flying that I did, and also edited, and it was from FDIC last year. We just got back 2 weeks ago from FDIC this year. It's in Indianapolis, so we'll go ahead and start it. So I'll just close by saying that the general public, Tony mentioned it earlier, the military, that's where drones initiated, dropping bombs and spying. And then we started selling them in the stores and kids got hold of them and some bad actors out there doing things. And the news getting a hold of that. The latest news at the airports and things that are going on there. So we are aware that there's going to be bad actors, but it's up to us to go out there and educate the communities, let them know what this technology can do. And I take a personal responsibility when it comes to saving lives and property to educate that this technology is not going away. And it's given us, I could tell stories all day long about what we've done with this stuff, but I'm done here. But thanks for your time.
Hi, my name is Eric Ostrowski. I'm with Orange County Public Works, and coming in today, kind of had a vague idea of what we were going to be talking about. What I will be covering is how Public Works is approaching using the drone program to basically see how drones will be used in this survey field. So we're talking survey-grade accuracy data collection with mosaic generation, landslide monitoring, or erosion control monitoring, things of that nature. So right now, the purpose is beyond that is to document and display the progression of existing OC Public Works projects, utilize photos and videos to capture projects at a moment in time, We also generate 3D models and point cloud generation to generate higher resolution imagery for project managers. So this is just some of the basic equipment we have. It's a lot of stuff you've been hearing today, similar platforms. But the big difference in what we do is we really have a hardline focus on accuracy. Our background is in geodetic and GPS monitoring. So at Orange County Public Works, we actually manage our own real-time network. So we manage 11 GPS stations, GLONASS GPS. There's about 11 of them. It's also tied into the California real-time network. So what we do is we're using our own low-key system, and we're using what's called PPK, where position data is stored and processed against other CGPS stations later to increase our accuracy, and the OCRTM, which is real-time kinematic, to get even better accuracy numbers. So when we're generating our Earth mosaics, when we're putting them online, we're trying to get to that point where we want to say this is something surveyors and engineers can use. So break lines, they want something that can be used in CAD for drafting. And we're seeing right now through our testing, actually testing with our field survey crews and our party chiefs, we're seeing numbers of 200ths of a foot in terms of accuracy. So we're almost there to that point, but we're not quite there yet. So the process, like I said, we're contacted by project manager, scope of work is determined, we determine a plan, drive out, collect the data, and we're flying every day. I mean, we're out in the field every day. I get to work in the morning, I get a Monster Energy drink to get my caffeine going, get out, come back, I collect the data, organize, and we have terabytes upon terabytes of data, of photos, and that we're processing. And so the deliverable, similar to what you've heard with ArcGIS Online, we're creating a web app, and we do a lot of open source content creation. So we're using an open source point cloud viewer called Poetry. That's a great optimized engine. We're uploading videos to YouTube. We're using 2 different software platforms to render our Earth mosaic. So we're not only just using one, we're comparing. So we're getting our accuracies from 2 different measurements so we can QA/QC say, okay, why is this one off? Why is this one more accurate? It's definitely, we approach stuff from a surveyor's mindset where we're measuring everything 10 different times. So we can understand why is this off right here. So we have a lot of long-term projects we keep track of. One down there is the Newport Coast Landslide we've been monitoring since 2016. So ever since that happened, that's our public safety standpoint, where we're seeing, hey, why is this happening? All right, where is this moving over a period of time? What vegetation is growing there? And here, this is just some of the projects we're running right now, and we're going out to each one of these projects once a month. So you can imagine every day, but we're running through, 210 Matrice 210 batteries, Inspire 2 batteries, like nothing. Yeah, any questions?
Where are you based?
We're based in Santa Ana at the OC Public Works Building 300 North Flower. We're part of the survey division, OC Survey. So, yeah, they've been doing this for about 6 years now. Yeah.
More questions from the panel?
Sure.
Thank you.
So we had 2 police officers from 2 different departments. So starting here. Yeah.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Matt Lawson from Torrance PD. So we began researching if a drone program would be feasible for our agency in 2016. We don't have a helicopter program in our city. We have to ask for help from LA County Sheriff's or LAPD for aerial support. So we started researching if that was possible. We went live in March of 2017, so just over 2 years now. We have a team of 11, all Part 107 certified. We also have a COA that we operate under. We've flown to date somewhere around 190 missions. We've caught about 16 people, I believe now, with by use of our drones and suspect perimeters and so forth. And we just do a wide range of operations, everything from fatal traffic investigations, which unfortunately I had one last night. I was out there around midnight, and we shot a scene for a fatal traffic accident, all the way up to chasing the suspect into a backyard and so forth. So I'm going to skip a lot of my PowerPoint just to save on time, leave time for questions, a lot of fluff. I'm just going to go straight to the video, and we'll leave time for questions if that works. So just some highlights. So we do training videos with our drones. This is actually at our airport. They closed down the runway for us to use our drone to shoot our pit training. I don't know if you can see, it's kind of dark, but this is one of our thermal cameras. What you're seeing is the detail at nighttime. You can actually read license plates, hazmat placards when you combine the technology of this FLIR camera that we have. It's very impressive. We can zoom in with the FLIR camera. This is a SWAT search warrant at 4 o'clock in the morning. It's pitch black. As you can see, we can see the SWAT operators. In the bottom right corner, the detail is such that you can see a rat running across a phone line. It's pretty incredible. So this is a burglary suspect that we're able to find. He's right in the middle of the screen there, and you'll see it switch over to the regular camera in just a second. So he had broken into someone's house, ran out in the neighborhood. We cordoned off the neighborhood and we were able to locate him. He actually gave up. He put his hands up. He didn't know what to do with the drone when he saw that. So he gave up. You know, it puts us in a great position, right? We don't have to go hands-on. We can call them out to us. We can keep our eye on them if they're armed. This guy also a burglary suspect, and what you'll notice here is there's a helicopter above us. The police helicopter is actually circling, and this guy has done this so much, he knows to wait for the helicopter to be out of view, and he starts moving. What he didn't know is the drone was hovering, watching him the entire time. So as he's trying to hide, he's not getting away at all. And he couldn't hear the drone because of the helicopter noise above it. So he's trying his best to get away with no idea the drone's watching him. So he takes his best position of hiding right there into the tree, and then we call on our four-legged friend to help and get him. So there's the canine. So you see the tree shake a little bit, and then he's done. He gives up. There he is. He's all done. Gives up to the officers. This one, this person, the black spot you can see is the heat. That's the person sitting on the back doorstep, and you can now see in the regular camera. He was holding a gun. He had held his family hostage, actually. He ends up giving up. There was a good outcome, but once again, we're able to put the drone on him and show the officers exactly where he's at. I don't know if you guys can see in the back, this lady was up, she climbed up on the roof of a gas station. She was throwing roof tiles down at the officers, and she would go up and hide up on the top of the building where we couldn't see her. So it was a perfect opportunity to use the drone with the spotlight to keep an eye on her. Also had a good outcome. She was taken into custody. This was a person who was placed under arrest by our SWAT team. They rolled up and jumped out of this undercover van and took him into custody, and he's laying down there, and they're getting him in custody. So if he was going to run, we'd have the drone for overwatch. This guy was in a stolen car. He was actually sleeping. We thought he was just not listening to officers' commands. They were about to let the canine go and bite him, but since we flew the drone up and saw he was passed out, we changed our tactics a little bit. This, believe it or not, we deployed the drone to search for coyotes. Apparently we have a coyote problem in Torrance, and this is actually a coyote. I know it's hard to see, but he's chasing a rabbit through our marsh right there, so we were out there documenting the coyotes this night. So like I said, a whole range of uses for our drones. This one was a murder suspect. We helped Inglewood Police Department over near LAX on the left side there. He's hiding under a tarp. We were able to find him using the drone, and we directed the officers in with the canine and said, hey guys, we think he's right here. So the technology is very, very helpful for us. Also in Inglewood, this person had shot at the police. He was trying to hide up on a rooftop. We were able to keep the drone right above him. This one was interesting because we were so close to LAX that the police helicopter wasn't allowed in, but the drone was allowed to stay at 50 feet. This one, there was a suspect on a second story of a building here. We busted the window out and actually flew a drone inside to clear the building. So we're now using the drones to help the SWAT teams and fly the interior of a house before the SWAT team even has to go in. And I think that's it. So just to save time, we'll pass the mic and we'll go for any questions after that.
All right, everybody hear me all right? All right, my name is Jason Morris. I'm a sergeant with the Corona Police Department. I'm going to forego talking about what our program is about because it's essentially the same thing as Torrance. Torrance played a significant role in helping us create our own program. So what Matt talked about is essentially what we're doing. However, what I would like to do in context of why everyone's here today is really cast vision on what it looks like as we move forward in public safety, especially law enforcement, in light of the junior colleges, the college programs, the civilian career opportunities, doing what we do. And so to preface that, I really have to identify the different types of models that you have in terms of police use of drone technology. And so I think that you really have two main models. You have the traditional model, as kind of as awkward as that sounds because it's relatively new for law enforcement. And then you have the first responder model, which is probably on the horizon. And so Matt and Corona, Torrance and Corona, we fall on that traditional model spectrum. And that spectrum actually ranges from very prohibitive in terms of what you can use your UAS for to extremely relaxed, which I think our two programs fall under, and we're able to do more with it. It's definitely a game changer. I've been in law enforcement 22 years. We've had our program, we've gone live. We've only been live since February of this year, and we started last August actually doing all the workup, training, equipment procurement, and so forth and so on. So it is definitely a game changer. So looking forward, what does that actually look like in the near future, utilizing a first responder model? First responder model, Chula Vista is actually a really good example of that. They're in a trial phase, they're working with CAPE and doing some stuff with the FAA to increase their ability to fly and respond to calls for service from a centralized location. For our department, the way that we work is that we have patrol officers who are Part 107 certified pilots who actually throw a Phantom 4 into the patrol car, and they basically wait for that drone call. So if we get a burglary in progress, we get a missing kid, we get a walk away from the hospital, something like that, they drive to the scene, they break out their equipment, and then they fly. So that's in my opinion, that'll never go away, but I don't think that's the most effective way to use the technology. So what we've done at Corona is we're starting to evaluate that. What does it look like for us to fly as first responders? And so we actually had our crime statisticians put together heat maps to show us where our priority 1 calls are. So the priority 1 calls for us, those are the assaults with injury, those are the injury traffic accidents, things of that nature that require faster response from police and EMS, fire, AMR, that type of business. So what we can do is we can actually fly off the roof of one of our fire departments. Our heat map hits on one end of the city. If we were to set up basically a helipad, if you will, for our drone, and we have 2 operators, we have your VO and your pilot, we have access to power, we have our computer, we can actually see the calls that are pending, and we can self-deploy, we can buy into calls and go out and clear calls simply by flying there. We do have access to a helicopter through Riverside Police Department. However, I believe that in today's day and age with law enforcement, you need to have access to options. And sometimes the helicopter is not the best option. So a drone is a great intermediate stopgap for having an aerial platform to be able to influence calls. And I really think that that's where we're moving. And so what does that mean for civilian careers, civilian occupations, education opportunities for young adults that are in college? So really I think that you have to view it from 3 different pillars, if you will. So the first one is going to be program design. So how are you designed to operate within a police department when it comes to UAS? Are you using the traditional method, which is great, but it's probably not maximizing the technology that's out there? And so if you do decide that you want to implement a first responder template or a first responder model, what does that mean for your agency? Does that now provide you the opportunity to utilize personnel other than sworn officers? Everybody probably knows that police officers are not cheap, and a lot of agencies are facing budget issues where they're having to make a choice between do we do extra programs or do we keep officers so we can handle calls for service. So as that's the case in my agency, is we right now are struggling to keep up with the demand for calls for service. So if that's the case, how do we justify pulling aside X number of first responders and having them operate a drone team full time? It's just not feasible. But I would argue that it would make a huge impact within our community if we could do that. So that brings me to the next point, is team composition. So if it's difficult for an agency to use police officers, what's next? Can we use, just like the Orange County, a reserve officer type, a volunteer? I've actually received phone calls inquiring as to, do we have volunteers flying drones? Or what is it if we had a paid civilian employee who has come through a college program, who is familiar with the things that we are looking for from a UAS operator, and they can sit in the station. They're not going out to the calls, they're not exposing themselves to the hazards of the occupation, but yet they're providing us with essential information as we're going to calls. If we get a call of a assault in progress at a certain intersection, falls within their radius of operation, meeting FAA guidelines, They fly over, they can confirm or deny if it's going on. They can provide information to officers as they respond, and it would just be an amazing thing for us to be able to have access to that. Because everybody doesn't know, but there's a disconnect sometimes between dispatchers and police officers. People that are calling to report crimes, the information is not necessarily correct, and everybody will know that sometimes bad things happen when bad information is given to police officers. So having an aerial platform that's responsive, can get to a call much quicker than police officers, much quicker than a helicopter, and then providing us with real-time live stream information is, like I said, it's a game changer. So my last point, and then I'll wrap up my piece, is this whole idea of technology and training. So technology, especially technology, my agency primarily uses or exclusively uses DJI. I think Torrance is the same way. So we use their products. The one thing that I've noticed is that to meet our mission requirements, there's a lot of homebrew that goes on. So for my team, Velcro and cable ties are like our best friends because we're lashing everything we can to a UAS or a drone to make it ideal for our mission set because they change. I think Torrance is running 10 drones. We'll be running 10 drones as of this week. And it's not because we have 10 pilots, it's because they each have strengths and they each have weaknesses. And so we have to really adjust per the mission. And even when we do adjust, the platform that we have doesn't have all the equipment that we need on it. And so I would encourage those that are involved in the manufacturing field as they really look at what you're building, partner up with law enforcement agencies and ask them what are your mission requirements and how can we build that, number one, and build it to be affordable, second. Because money doesn't grow on trees for departments. I think we're about $68,000 into the game, and none of that is out of our general fund account. Most of us through community donations. We've gotten access to a grant which will enable us to add an M210 from DJI this week, which we're super excited about, as well as a Z30 camera. So that's really what manufacturers have to look at because this is an emerging market. If you're a businessman or a businesswoman and you want to corner that market, start asking some questions and start coming up with some equipment that's specific to our industry because it's not a matter. Lighting is a huge issue. We're trying to come up with ways to illuminate an objective or whatever, integrated beacons so that way we don't have to Velcro buttons on there so they flash, and then PA systems and all these other things that would be great for law enforcement. So if you're a builder or you're a manufacturer, those are the things that I would encourage you to do because it is real. We as police officers, as law enforcement agencies, we don't know what we don't know. You just get a bunch of guys that buy a bunch of equipment and then go out there and make it up as they go. So as we learn, and that transitions that last piece of training, as we learn the best practices and procedures for drone usage as chiefs and captains and commanders and all the powers that make decisions with an organization start to learn the impact and the power of this technology, it's going to become like a California Post, Peace Officer Standards and Training. It's going to be a part of that learning process for command staff. And it wouldn't surprise me, those of you educators have access to police academies, it's going to be modules that are taught in police academies. I really do believe that it's going to be up there with K9, SWAT, helicopters, traffic. It's just another way that we're doing our job. So that's all I have. Appreciate y'all's time. Thank you.
All right. A lot of amazing information, and this is something, we could have an entire weekend-long conference. There are entire weekend-long conferences just on this. I have 3 short answer questions, and apparently this is the mic of the hour right now, so I'm going to pass it down. And some of you already answered some of this, but either way, how many current drone pilots are on your team? How many are you looking to hire within the next year or two? And who's currently training your force?
Okay, so We've established 2 pilots, myself, Dave Danielson. We've started from the beginning. Chief Fields is over the program. We just put a class together of 14 pilots and ran them through certification. They had to have a prerequisite of 107 and a certain amount of hours on board to be able to even get into the class. We're training fire department stuff, not just drones. So 17, they're not actually certified to actually go out on emergencies and fly. They're visual observers at this point, and they get time at emergencies and basically go through certain standards that we have, and then they get written off and they become pilots. And we hope to have that completed within a couple of months to have them out there flying. So.
Our department, we have about 4 pilots right now. One of them is retiring, actually. But within OC Survey, we're actually going to be training all our survey field crews to become pilots. The party chiefs will become pilots. So whenever our crews go out in the field, they need to shoot something for, not a dam break, but Arizona crossing. With the planes that came in Silverado Canyon, they can go out, fly the drone, get survey grade accuracy data, bring it back, and we can just sit in the field. So we'll probably in the future about 10 more pilots.
And you have these surveyors first before you hire?
Yeah, so we're surveyors primarily.
So we first started in 2016. We started with 6. That was a lieutenant, a sergeant, 4 officers, all got our Part 107. As the program grew, we grew to now 11. Everyone's Part 107 certified. We've done all of our training in-house so far for the most part, all self-certified under the COA, and like I said, all Part 107. We don't have any plans of adding any more right now, but as some may retire or leave the group, we'll add on. We haven't explored the possibility of civilians or contracting or anything like that yet, but I love Sergeant Moore's idea. That was great about how they could definitely lead to something in the future. But that's where we're at right now.
So we're full-time sworn only. We have a team of 6, I call them 6 lead pilots, the patrol officers that are out in the field. I fly as the field sergeant when I'm on duty. I have a lieutenant who does not fly. Basically you are on our team until your 2 years Part 107 certification is up, and then if we find just cause to bounce you because you're a marginal pilot, then we may have openings. But as of right now, we're so new into the program that we're still learning all the things that we didn't know and figuring out all these cool ideas on how to hopefully make our program better. So most of our times will be spent doing that.
It's a lot of good information, and they'll be continuing on the panel that they're going to be on in just a moment. Hang out here for a minute while we move together in a second. Good opportunity here for the colleges, though, for those who are representing. There currently isn't anybody focusing on just public safety for drones. I know there's a couple colleges interested, but I think it would be a good opportunity. I could easily see, if not your forces, other upcoming forces that would like to get into this, wanting to do training through the colleges, I would imagine. So.